It's 6 a.m. While millions of people around the world stumble toward the coffee machine like zombies in search of salvation, there exists a fascinating group of individuals who simply don't need it. They jump out of bed with sparkling eyes, a crystal-clear mind, and energy that seems to flow from an inexhaustible source. We're not talking about people who drink energy shots instead of coffee, but human beings who manage to operate at levels of alertness and productivity that defy our basic understanding of how the human body works. This is not an isolated rare phenomenon. We are facing something that may represent the next frontier of human evolution, or perhaps traits that have always been latent within our species, waiting to be awakened. The awakening of potential in 1989, U.S. Army laboratories documented a case that remains classified to this day. A special operations soldier managed to maintain full cognitive and physical performance for 127 consecutive hours without sleep, more than 5 days. No stimulants, no drugs, just functioning. Military doctors couldn't explain how his brain kept operating when it should have collapsed days earlier. This is not the only case in history. During the Vietnam War, declassified documents reveal that some soldiers developed what the military called perpetual alertness syndrome, a condition in which the body seemed to have hacked its own energy and sleep systems. But let's go further back in history. In 1963, the Buddhist monk Thich Quang Duc remained perfectly still and conscious while his own body burned in protest. Witnesses reported that his eyes stayed focused and alert until the very end, a control over states of consciousness that defies medical explanation. Decades later, studies on Tibetan monks revealed something extraordinary. They can voluntarily alter their basal metabolism, reducing oxygen consumption by up to 64%, essentially entering a state of conscious hibernation. In the 2000s, researchers at Stanford University made a discovery that would change our understanding of human sleep and energy. They identified a mutation in the December 2nd gene in less than 1% of the global population. People with this genetic variation only need 4 to 6 hours of sleep to function perfectly, while maintaining energy and alertness levels that surpass those who sleep 8 hours per night. Geneticist Dr. Ing-Hui Fu described these individuals as natural short sleepers, people who not only sleep less but wake up more rested and energized than the general population. They report never feeling the morning fog that haunts millions, never needing caffeine, never experiencing the afternoon crash. Evidence and early discoveries. NASA's sleep research labs began studying this phenomenon when they discovered that some astronauts maintained exceptional performance even under extreme sleep deprivation in space. Dr. Charles Cheesler, director of the Harvard Sleep Medicine Center, conducted controlled experiments that revealed something unsettling. While most people show severe cognitive decline after 24 hours without sleep, some individuals maintain brain function comparable to a rested state. In one particularly revealing study, researchers isolated 100 volunteers in a controlled environment for 2 weeks. Half the group showed the expected effects of sleep restriction, irritability, cognitive decline, weakened immune systems. But 12% of participants not only maintained performance, they improved. Their cognitive test scores rose. Their creativity increased. Their bodies seemed to be operating with an energy efficiency that defied basic biological principles. The answer may lie hidden in isolated communities that have lived differently for millennia. The Hunza, a population in the mountains of Pakistan, are famous for their extraordinary longevity and energy levels that persist into old age. Anthropologists reported cases of 90-year-old men working in the fields with the vigor of people decades younger, all with a minimal diet and sleep patterns that vary drastically from Western norms. Biochemical analyses of these individuals revealed fascinating differences in how they process adenosine, the chemical that builds up in the brain during the day and makes us feel tired. While most people experience a progressive accumulation of adenosine that eventually forces sleep, some individuals process and eliminate it with almost superhuman efficiency. Dr. Craig Heller of Stanford University discovered that certain people have modified adenosine receptors that simply don't respond in the same way to the fatigue chemical. It's as if their brains are naturally resistant to the very biological mechanism that induces tiredness. At the edge of science, the mitochondria, the power plants of our cells, may hold the key to this mystery. Recent research suggests that some individuals have mitochondria that operate with extraordinary efficiency, producing ADP, the cellular energy currency, at levels far beyond the human norm. It's like having a turbo V8 engine where most people have a four-cylinder. Dr. Eva Detko, a specialist in mitochondrial medicine, studied cases of individuals who report never feeling true physical fatigue. Their tests revealed mitochondria with unique structures, denser, with more internal folds and an energy processing capacity that fell outside normal medical reference parameters. But the explanation may go beyond cell biology. Studies with advanced meditators revealed something that confuses traditional science. They can voluntarily alter their brain waves, entering states that combine the deep relaxation of REM sleep with the alert consciousness of wakefulness. Tibetan monks in deep meditation have shown brain activity patterns never before documented in medical literature. Dr. Richard Davidson, a neuroscientist at the University of Wisconsin, conducted experiments with monks who had meditated more than 10,000 hours in their lives. The results were extraordinary. Their brains displayed levels of gamma activity, brain waves associated with high-performance consciousness, that were 700 to 800% greater than in normal individuals. Extreme intermittent fasting practiced by certain cultures may be another piece of this puzzle. When the body enters deep ketosis, burning fat instead of carbohydrates for energy, some individuals report states of mental and physical alertness that transcend their normal experience. It's as if food deprivation activates alternative energy systems most of us never access. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University discovered that prolonged fasting can activate genes that improve mitochondrial function and increase the production of proteins that protect neurons against oxidative stress. Simply put, hunger can literally optimize your brain's hardware for maximum efficiency. Between the real and the impossible, in 2019, DARPA, the U.S. military research agency responsible for advanced technologies, launched a classified project called Metabolic Dominance. Leaked documents suggest they identified soldiers who developed extreme resistance to fatigue not through genetics, but through specific training protocols that literally reprogram their biology. These individuals can function on 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night for weeks, maintaining reflexes, decision-making, and physical capacity rivaling well-rested Olympic athletes. Most disturbing, many of them report they don't want to return to normal sleep patterns. They describe an expanded state of consciousness, where thoughts flow more clearly and sensory perception feels amplified. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, may be the key. Dr. Alvaro Pasqualeone of Harvard conducted studies showing how the human brain can literally reconfigure under specific conditions of controlled stress and optimized recovery. Some participants developed polyphasic sleep patterns, sleeping multiple times a day in short intervals, that resulted in more wake time and better cognitive performance than traditional monophasic sleep. But perhaps the most fascinating phenomenon is the superagers, people in their 80s, 90s, even 100s who have brains metabolically identical to those of 20-year-olds. Dr. Emily Rogalski of Northwestern University scanned the brains of centenarians who maintain youthful energy and clarity. She found that their brains not only avoided normal decline, they optimized over time, developing more efficient neural connections and energy systems that challenge our understanding of aging. Emerging technologies are beginning to amplify these natural abilities. Transcranial stimulation, specific light therapy, and even precise magnetic fields can temporarily induce fatigue-free alertness in normal individuals. Dr. Marome Bixen of the City University of New York developed protocols that can boost cognitive performance by 40% for 6 to 8 hours without any chemical stimulant. The future of human superpowers: imagine a world divided between two classes of humans: those who need 8 hours of sleep and depend on caffeine to function, and those who operate at maximum efficiency on 4 hours of rest, waking up naturally energized and alert. The social, economic, and ethical implications are profound. Companies have already begun selecting employees based on sleep efficiency. Militaries around the world are investing billions in research to create soldiers who don't need sleep. The question isn't whether this technology will be developed, but how it will be distributed and controlled. Dr. Martha Hotz-Vitaturna of Northwestern University leads research into gene therapy that could theoretically optimize sleep genes in anyone. Experimental treatments using CRISPR have already succeeded in modifying sleep patterns in animal models. The possibility of genetically hacking our own energy systems is no longer science fiction. It's an emerging reality. But hidden costs exist. Some individuals with extraordinary energy capacities report disturbing side effects. Social isolation due to completely different life schedules, difficulty forming relationships with normal people, and in some cases, a kind of existential restlessness, as if they perceive the world on a frequency different from the rest of humanity. Dr. Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, warns that transcending our natural biological limits may have unforeseen consequences. Sleep isn't just about rest. It's when our brain consolidates memories, clears toxins, and processes emotional experiences. People who sleep drastically less may be sacrificing crucial aspects of human experience in the name of productivity. Longitudinal studies are beginning to reveal troubling patterns in some high-energy superperformers. Tendencies toward obsessive behaviors, difficulty processing emotional trauma, and ironically, higher susceptibility to mental burnout despite physical resistance to fatigue. The fundamental question remains, are we all capable of awakening these latent abilities through training, genetic modification, or technology? Or are we witnessing individuals who represent the next stage of human evolution, a natural branching of the species adapting to the demands of an increasingly accelerated world? Harvard researchers estimate that up to 5% of the global population may have some degree of these enhanced energy capacities, but most never discover or fully develop their potential. They live normal lives, unconsciously adjusting to social expectations about sleep and energy, never realizing they possess biological hardware capable of extraordinary performance. What we know for sure is that the limits of human potential are far more flexible than we imagined. Whether through rare genetic mutations, ancestral practices of isolated cultures, secret military protocols, or emerging technologies, some human beings have already transcended barriers we once considered absolute biological limits. The question is no longer whether human superpowers exist. It's deciding if we want to develop them, how we will control them, and whether we are prepared for the consequences of becoming something beyond what we have historically considered human. Meanwhile, somewhere in the world, a person is waking up at 5 a.m. without an alarm clock, jumping out of bed with full energy after just 4 hours of sleep, and preparing for a day of productivity that would make most of us collapse from exhaustion. They don't know they are extraordinary. For them, this is just normal. Perhaps the real question is, what's normal for you may not be normal for our species. And maybe it's time to discover what hidden capacities are waiting to be awakened in your own body and mind. The human energy revolution isn't coming. It's already here. The only question is whether you will be part of it.